and more. Elevate your meal with freshly fried fries or onion rings. Visit MavericksBeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville. Mavericks Real Roast Beef.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and of course in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Thursday, by the way, afternoon drive in Seattle. Good to have you with us today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I want a quick side note, just for everyone out there. Holidays are coming up. We have a special gift for you at the station here. We actually do brand new to you shows. We do brand new content, and it's our gift. And so over the holidays, you're going to hear a whole bunch of brand new interviews that you have not heard before. It's great stuff, and you'll be able to hear them during the shows. It is, like I said, a little gift that we do for you and it comes down to this. One, we've evaluated. We do not have enough best of shows on this show to do that. I mean, it's just, come on. You know, we've listened to it. It's no. Two, I don't believe in dragging somebody in here to work their holiday. So we record them. You get brand new stuff. Happy holidays to you. I bring this up because I just got done recording a wonderful segment with my bestie in Chicago, Patty Vasquez. And I can't tell you how much I'm lucky to be able to get a chat with her, because she is so good, and she is just such an absolutely inspiring and wonderful and intelligent. And okay, so when is that going to kick in for me? I mean, I've been doing this for how many years now? 30 years? I mean, aren't I supposed to get somewhat good at some point? Now, pardon me while I eat some more paste. So I will say this. I bring this up because on all three of your stations, of course, Patty is live on the air 5 to 7 in the afternoons in Chicago, and she's on the air, it sounds like, multiple times during the week and in Seattle, and of course 9 o'clock here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. So listen to Patty. Your day will be better because of it. She is wonderful. 952-946-6205. And by the way, listen for her brand new to you interview coming up over the holidays. I'll let you know when all that is coming on down. God, it's been a busy news day. I will say I'm not going to probably have time to get to the fact that there was apparently a shouting match at the Health and Human Services on these kookball, anti-vax nutbags that want to stop the hepatitis shot for infants, even though it has been 99% effective. But because you deal with hepatitis by putting gravel on your face. It's like, dear Lord. But they actually postponed the vote on that because they realize they're a bunch of freaking psychopaths. I mean, I can't figure out what's wrong with those people. I'm not going to have time to get to that today. The pro-hepatitis crew at Health and Human Services. Because I got to go right away to what is, once again, murder. Murder. It is murder. When we are blowing up these boats in the Caribbean, that is murder. We don't have any evidence that what these people are doing is illegal. Even if they were doing something illegal, the worst thing they're doing is running drugs from one country that is not the United States to another country that is not the United States, because none of these boats could make it to the U.S. shore. So and there is no guarantee that those drugs are coming here. This is just freaking target practice for a Department of Defense who is run by a human freaking date rape drug that's drunk off his ass. That guy Hegseth is an absolute disgrace of a human being, let alone of the Secretary of Defense. Dear Lord. Anyway, it sounds like they're trying to get this admiral to take the fall for him, but murder is murder. And hey, let's go. I'll go back to Ollie North. Remember in Ollie North, supposedly this is a lieutenant colonel in the Army, was somehow smuggling arms onto airplanes, getting airspace, authorization to fly over different multiple countries and drop that things off. I said this back when that happened. I was in the Army. No lieutenant colonel could ever get all that stuff authorized. To get an airplane, to get airspace validation. This clearly came from the White House. And Ollie North was quick to say, I'll take the fall. And he turned it into a career because, hey, that's the world we live in now. People that are basically horrible human beings get rewarded. Democratic Representative Jim Himes emerged from a closed-door briefing with Admiral Mitch Bradley, troubled by the video of the double tap strike conducted in an alleged drug boat in September, which killed survivors. What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service, Himes told the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee told reporters on Thursday morning. Bradley is giving lawmakers a classified briefing on the lethal strikes on the alleged Venezuelan drug boat, among uproar that the second strike killing survivors may have been amounted to war crimes. No, it might not. It is a war crime. This is okay. So let me paint the picture here for you. There's a boat which is not a threat to the United States, and nor do we have any evidence that anything bad is on this boat. And we launched a missile into this boat, and it blew up. Boat go boom. People are in the water. They are going to eventually die anyway because they're not about to swim the 40 miles they need to go to get to a shore or something like that. But seeing two people in the water, treading water, wondering if they're going to survive, what the heck just happened and are they going to survive? Someone decided to take another one of our missiles. And once again, and by the way, this is not the point, but can we say these missiles are like $1 million each? Okay. They decided to take another, and once again, that's a lesser issue, but that's we basically took a missile designed to take out a tank to kill two people that were floating in the water that were probably never going to make it to shore anyway. Now, once again, no trial, no court, no evidence, no threat, nothing. It would be a war crime if we were at war with anybody else, and war can only be declared by Congress, and they have not declared war on Venezuela yet. So this is one thing and one thing only. This is murder via military. You're just murdering these people. This is the same thing as what they did in Vietnam when they would just kill an entire village just to kill an entire village. That is all we are doing here. There's no nuancing this. There is no candy coating this. You're just murdering people. That's all it is. Murder. You have two individuals in clear distress without any means of locomotion with a destroyed vessel who were killed by the United States. The admiral who commanded Joint Special Operations Command at the time in the September 2nd mission initially claimed Hegseth authorized him to conduct the double tap airstrike. However, Himes told reporters Thursday that Bradley confirmed there was no kill order. So then you need to be charged with a crime. And that is what I think a lot of this has been, is that behind the scenes it's a, hey, it's Donnie T here, Admiral. I love your Captain Crunch cereal. It's delicious. Anywho, hey, can you take the fall for Pete? He's drunk right now, passed out in the corner. But could you take the fall for him? And I'll give you a whole bunch of my cryptocurrency. I got some Bitcoin stuff. It's going to be worth a lot of money. And no one's going to, I'll pardon you if worst comes to worst. And then you might have to, to resign in disgrace. But hey, you know what? You'll be fine. Just take the heat off of Petey, will you? Thanks. And more of those all oops cereals. They were delicious. I honestly think that if you actually put the admirals on the phone, he'd say, the king is on the phone to you. King Vitamin? That cereal hasn't been around in a while. That's a dated reference. Anyway. Himes told reporters Bradley confirmed there was no kill order. Separately, Hegseth is doing damage control after a report determined he could have endangered U.S. troops by adding, sharing sensitive information through a military operation on a signal chat. Speaking of which, if I may, Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware and said Defense Secretary Hegseth should resign following a report from the Defense Department's Inspector General that he may have endangered U.S. troops when he put sensitive information on a signal group chat. Now, I want a quick stop, if I can. Republicans were demanding that the Secretary of Defense under Joe Biden needed to resign because he was going through a personal health issue and hadn't formally informed them of his treatment regimen. That was a fire him, he's for incompetence with the Democrats. That was the epitome. He's how dare he have cancer and not clear it through me? Pete Hegseth is basically ordering people to get murdered in the middle of the Caribbean, and on top of it is so incompetent because he's probably drunk that he's jeopardizing troops with signal chats. And yet, not a single Republican of the same exact Republicans who demanded that Biden's Secretary of Defense resign because, cancer treatment. How dare you? Yeah, you can't make this stuff up, can you? Any service member who acted with such disregard for our national security would be dismissed. They would be. Coons, the vice chair of the Senate Ethics Committee, had said, our nation's highest-ranking defense officials should not be held to a lower standard than the men and women overseas. I once again call on Hegseth to resign. The report indicated Hegseth did not reveal classified information. However, as Defense Secretary, Hegseth is able to declassify information whenever he sees fit, and that's kind of what he did after the fact, quietly, if you remember correctly. A representative, when he was asked about to respond to a report on the Defense Department Inspector General that accused Pentagon Chief Hegseth with reckless disregard of endangering U.S. troops, he raised the prospect that the former Fox News personality is still breaking the law. Speaking on MSN Now, the Democratic lawmaker expressed disgust at the findings that demonstrated that how Trump appointee used a personal device to share sensitive attack details not long after he was confirmed by the Senate. He specifically raised objections to the report notation that the embattled Defense Department had refused to turn over his phone as part of the investigation. What about Hillary's emails? All of a sudden, yeah, this guy, turn over your phone. Dude, man, he's got chicks on there. He doesn't want you to kind of slide into their DMs, man. If anyone else in the military had done this, they would have been fired. And let's remember, it's clear he says he put the troops at risk, men and women in uniform at risk, he told MS Now. Yep. And not a single damn Republican will think that this is bad at all. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Je te dis joyeux Noël, tu me dis joyeux Noël.
Hey, Francois, look at those pretty gifts.
Oui, j'ai commandé des macarons sur nicoletsmacarons.com.
You ordered these macarons at nicoletsmacarons.com? That's great because they ship throughout the country.
Oui, et ils ont même mis le logo de mon entreprise sur les macarons.
And they put your company logo on the macaroons.
Et voilà, un cadeau pour toi.
A box for me? Thank you, Francois. And I have a gift for you from nicoletsmacarons.com.
Joyeux Noël.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shambot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Hey, it's Alex with Buzzcut Mowing. Why spend your precious time out in the cold this fall raking, bagging, and stressing over leaves when I can handle it all for you? I provide fast, thorough, and reliable fall leaf cleanups across the West Metro. Let me do the hard work so you can stay cozy, sip your coffee, and actually enjoy the season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today, and let's make your yard the envy of the neighborhood before the winter hits. Buzzcut Mowing.
I've got mysterious stranger starred in my contact list.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. So another story that is breaking today, the FBI finally have arrested a person in regards to those pipe bombs on the day before January 6th. The FBI arrested a 33-year-old man, accused him of leaving the pipe bombs outside the Democratic and Republican offices on the eve of January 6th. Thursday's arrest comes nearly 5 years after the attack on the hunt for the suspect. Brian Cole was identified as the suspect, according to the Associated Press. He has not yet appeared in court, and no formal charges have been filed against him. For years, the FBI has asked for information about the suspect who left devices outside the Republican National Committee and the Democratic National Committee hours before an angry mob stormed the Capitol to protest Trump lost to the 2020 election to Joe Biden. No one was hurt. The bombs were rendered safe, but the FBI previously described them as being viable and said they could have seriously injured or killed innocent bystanders. The devices were at least made with 1 x 8-inch threaded galvanized pipes, end caps, kitchen wires, timers, wires, metal clips, and homemade black powder. They were discovered in the afternoon of January 6th. As police responded to the rioting in the Capitol, the discovery prompted the evacuation of the vice president from the DNC headquarters. In the years since, investigators had sought the public's help to identifying the shadowy individual. Here's what we know. This is off a raw story. He's a 30-year-old who works in the office of a bail bondsman in Northern Virginia. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, wears corrective glasses. The suspect was living just miles away from D.C. in a single-family home with his mother and 5 other family members. It's a fairly nice community. It's like a $600,000 house that they were living in. Review of video surveillance footage shows that evening on January 5th shows the pipe bombs at the RNC and DNC were placed by the same individual. The individual was observed on video surveillance footage with various locations in approximately 7:34 p.m., 8:18 p.m. In video surveillance, the individual was wearing dark pants, gray hooded sweatshirt, dark gloves, Nike Air Max Speed turf shoes. That's actually was a big clue there. And a face mask that obscured the person's face. The video for surveillance footage shows the individual adjusting eyeglasses at times. The video surveillance footage shows an individual carrying a backpack. Authorities have accused Cole of purchasing multiple items consistent with the components that were used in the pipe bombs, including the galvanized pipe on around October 22nd and March 10th and July 16th, and end cap materials at 2 different Home Depot locations in Northern Virginia. They also indicated the suspect allegedly purchased 9-volt battery connector from a micro center in Northern Virginia sometime between December 2017 and January 2021, and 2 white kitchen timers from a Walmart in Northern Virginia on or about June 3rd of 2020. So it sounds like this individual, at least the implication here is that this was something they were working on for a while. So it seems like they wanted to create pipe bombs and then were looking for a target. Investigators indicated that safety glasses were purchased on or about July 8th. They also used the cell phone towers to kind of triangulate where this guy was at. Authorities accused Cole of having 7 connections with towers near RNC and DNC, allegedly driving his 2017 Nissan Sentra with a Virginia license plate. On January 5th at approximately 7:10 p.m., Cole's Nissan Sentra was observed driving past a license plate reader at the South Capitol Street exit from Interstate 395, which is less than a half a mile from the location where the individual placed the devices was observed. So, of course, Pam Bondi came out and said, Biden didn't catch my dad. That was her thing, because that's the only thing that she's concerned about. We don't know much about this individual in regards to politics. It sounds like some extreme, like I said, this is initial. I haven't seen this reported a lot of places, but multiple places have said that he did have some, anarchy, far right tendencies. I mean, if you're starting to put together pipe bombs well before January 6th, I think that might be a checkbox yes. So that there's more to come on this. We don't know that much about him. I will say this. My gut feeling is that this individual might indeed be someone from the right-leaning things. Now, a right-leaning perspective. And I'll say it for this reason. One is, first of all, January 6th was coming up. Everyone knew everyone was descending on the city to protest Trump getting his ass kicked by Joe Biden. And so those were a lot of the people there. And it did target, there did seem to be a desire to basically create targets of the RNC and the DNC at the same time. That would have drawn police away from the Capitol, that sort of thing. That was initially the case. When stuff like this breaks, if there is definitive proof that this individual is indeed tied to the left, that is leaked well before press conferences. And it is something that the shooting, the shooting at the church in Minneapolis, the fact that the fact they were out there with details about that shooter and alleging a left-leaning conspiracy, which wasn't, this sounds like a mental health issue for sure, but that was something that was leaked very quickly. When it was Charlie Kirk's shooting, or if it was the attempted assassination of Trump at that rally, the fact that the government itself doesn't release a lot of information is almost a tell right there that they're seeing signs that this is someone potentially from the right. Not saying definitively it is, but they're seeing more things that connect the dots to a right-leaning motivation than a left-leaning one. Henceforth, that stuff doesn't get leaked. Same thing's going on with this case. There's just not a lot of information that's come on out. The other thing which is interesting is, okay, so I decided to dive into, let me take a look around and see what other people are saying about this. And I did just sign back onto Twitter. My page is still there, but I don't post on it. And took a look around there. The first thing I noticed was all these right-wing accounts were posting a picture. Now, this guy is 5'6", I think is the height this guy has, 5'6". They were verifying that. Yeah, 5'6". They were showing a picture of a guy who clearly was like well over 6 feet tall, standing next to other people. So, kind of the implication was that the other people were 4'2", 4'3"? No. So those clearly were fraudulent. But it was a clip from some psychopath that was on Steve Bannon's show I saw, where the woman said, well, it's my belief that the FBI is covering it up, that he was indeed Antifa. The fact that they don't have the narrative they want, and so they're immediately saying there's a cover up and this is something worse. I think that there's signs that this person might indeed be more right-leaning on that case. Here's the one thing that's interesting, because people have already been talking about this. Trump already came on out and said the January 6th pardon will not apply to the alleged pipe bomber. Trump's blanket pardon of thousands of crimes committed during the January 6th attack on the Capitol, they insist won't apply to the alleged pipe bomber who FBI agents arrested on Thursday. The man was arrested after a long-running probe. White House official told The Independent that Trump's grant a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted of offenses related to events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6th won't get the alleged bomber off the hook because of the pipe bombs were hidden on January 5th. But you actually, if this guy was at January 6th, you have this offenses related to events. This guy, if this is the individual, he'll have actually a pretty legitimate argument that I was admonished for he gave a blanket pardon for things that were related to these events, then I'm off the hook. There is a legit chance that even if this guy is the pipe bomber, and if he is found guilty, he'll be able to say, I shouldn't serve a day in prison at all because Trump's already pardoned me. And he kind of already did. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Join me, Tom Hartman, where smart people get their news. The Tom Hartman Program on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This December, Fortune's Pool Theater celebrates 20 years of creating theater in Minnesota with a free festival of pirate mayhem, featuring 2 irreverent R-rated musicals and repertory. Yar, the Lusty Busty pirate musical, and the world premiere, Have Yourself a Lusty Busty Xmas. 3 powerhouse women playing 20 roles, a live orchestra, hilarious songs, and sword fights. Join the comic madness December 5th to the 21st at the Hive Collaborative in St. Paul. Tickets are free as a gift to you. Reserve at fortunespooltheater.org.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. It's been great working with so many of the passionate AM 950 listeners over the years. We have realized how important AM 950 is to the community. I want to see AM 950 continue to grow and continue to thrive into the future. To help continue to grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to do your part by liking and sharing the content on AM 950's social media platforms.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Ryan has always told me the best time to get work done is during the colder months of the year because demand is much lower. He is backing that up again by offering 30% off labor on windows and siding from now until the end of December. Call Snap Construction now to get 30% off labor on windows and siding. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Trust the company AM 950 trusts Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, and window contractor in the metro area. Get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly sunny skies today with a high near 15, tonight cloudy with the temp rising to about 21, and Friday partly cloudy with a high near 29. We're fighting to protect Minnesota's only progressive radio station, and we can't do it without you. Your one-time or sustaining gift gives us the stability to keep going. And as our thanks, you'll receive the brand new 2026 AM 950 calendar. Find more details at am950radio.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the afternoon drive here, 1150 a.m., KKNW in Seattle, and of course in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Thursday. Nice to have you with us here today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I am going to actually take a few minutes here. I want to read from the article because this kind of happened this afternoon. I hadn't really had time to get this beforehand, but I wanted to read this a little bit here. This is about the CDC meeting on the recommendation of restricting hepatitis B vaccination for infants. They've moved this. They've delayed the vote till Friday. The meeting of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices turned confrontational times before one member introduced a motion to delay the vote, which passed 6-3 to give advisors time to examine the wording before taking a vote. In the preceding meeting, the vaccine advisors debated restricting access to the hepatitis B vaccine for infants, a significant step towards limiting safe and effective shots given for decades. No new evidence on harms from the vaccine, which have been given to 1.4 billion people for more than 3 decades with a stellar safety record, was presented at the meeting. The shot is currently available at birth for all infants. 2 members demanded any evidence at all of any harm from the vaccine while pointing to its benefits, while the vice chair running the meeting at times rudely interrupted their comments. Several of the advisors, who are all handpicked by Trump's controversial health secretary, Brainworm McGee, are longtime anti-vaccine kooks. I added kooks. The aborted vote on the hepatitis B shot, which is extremely safe and very effective vaccine, follows. And this is like this is why I appreciate the Guardian. They don't candy coat it. It's safe. I mean, if it was CBS, it'd be like, some people say it's safe, but the jury's still out, because they're pushing a right-wing agenda on CBS News. But the Guardian doesn't have any of that stuff they're dealing with. The aborted vote on the hepatitis B shot, which is an extremely safe and very effective vaccine, follows previous meetings where advisors recommended restricting access to COVID vaccines, measles, mumps, and rubella, and chickenpox vaccines. Moves to make these people will kill every one of us for their cause. Let's just be honest about it. They'll kill us for their cause. 952-946-6205, which brings me to a story that was broke earlier this week, but I just have not had time to get to it. But now I want to get to this before I get the week out here. And that is a lawsuit out of San Francisco. Now, I have talked about ultra-processed foods for a while. And I myself, I make most of my own food. Now, what's interesting is, and I might have to go find, there was the BBC did an excellent piece on the difference between fresh food, processed, and ultra processed foods, and the dangers of ultra processed foods, and how they basically have kind of taken over a lot of people's diets. I am a person who cooks my own food. Tonight I'm making pasta tonight. But I will be free to admit, I'm making the sauce, but the noodles I'm buying, they're from a box. So those are processed. It might even be ultra processed. I'm not sure exactly where on something like that, the clarification changes. But that's something I will do. I will make my own stuff, but I do use stuff that a lot of people do that is processed. I'll give you a great example of it. If you buy a head of lettuce, that's not processed. That's a head of lettuce. But if you buy one of those bag salads, well, you're getting processed food. That's been at very least clean, trimmed, cut up. Might have additives to it. I mean, definitely if you add the dressings and the cheeses and the croutons that come with those things, that you're generally probably getting a lot of ultra processed stuff that's in that. But there's ways to get around it. I try to avoid eating too much processed foods. I had a friend who worked for a company that produced a lot of ultra processed foods. And so they would get a lot of their food for dirt cheap through the company. But I'll never forget that there were times where they were all sick all the time. There were times they seemed like they were sick all the time. And I'm like, what's going on? And the only thing I could think of is that, maybe it was the ultra processed foods that they were getting. You're a grown freaking adult. You go do what you're going to do. I can't stop that. But you do need to be aware that the reason why ultra processed foods exist is it's a cheaper way for a company to create a food product, which generally is not very nutritious at all, is loaded with not only salts and sugars and unsaturated fats, but as well chemicals, which we really don't understand a lot of what mass consumption of them do. And frankly, some of that stuff is by design addictive. And it's pretty bad. There's a new law in Australia where they're basically going to prevent kids from 16 and under having social media accounts. because they're realizing there has to be some very strict changes within children on social media, because there's a generation that's been destroyed kind of by social media at a very young age. San Francisco is kind of thinking outside of the box on a larger scale too, because they're starting to say, well, we have to start looking at these companies that are pushing these ultra processed foods on the American people. And that is part of the problem. The city of San Francisco filed the nation's first government lawsuit against some of the largest manufacturers of ultra processed foods on Tuesday, asserting that the 10 corporations knew the products were harming Americans' health, but continued to market them anyway. The corporations include cereal giants Kellogg, Post Holdings, and General Mills, candy makers Nestle USA and Mars Incorporated, soda companies behind Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, as well as Kraft Heinz Company, ConAgra Brands, and Modelo Mondelez International. The suit alleges that the healthcare costs for treating related health conditions tied to consuming ultra-processed foods, upwards of $100 billion a year, have fallen on American cities and states. These companies created a public health crisis with their engineering and marketing of ultra-processed foods, said San Francisco City Attorney David Chu in a statement shared with The Independent. They took food and made it unrecognizable and harmful to the human body. We must be clear that this is not about consumers making. Oh, forgive me here. The computer just shifted on the story here. Exactly, I know. We must be clear that this is not about consumers making better. This is not about consumers making better choices. Recent surveys show Americans want to avoid ultra-processed foods, but are inundated by them. These companies engineered a public health crisis. They profited handsomely, and now they need to take responsibility for the harm they have caused. Kraft Heinz Company, Nestle USA, Kellogg, Mars Incorporated, General Mills, the Coca-Cola Company, PepsiCo, ConAgra Brands, Post Holdings, and Mondelez International did not immediately respond to the Independent's request for comment. Sarah Gallo, Senior Vice President and Product Policy for Consumer Brands Associates, told The Independent in a statement that America's household brands support Americans in making healthier choices. Pizza Bites, citing efforts to increase protein and fiber content and remove synthetic color additives. The association represents many food manufacturers. I mean, that screams of when the Reagan basically said you can put ketchup on a plate and that's a vegetable. Yeah. There is currently no agreed upon scientific definition of ultra processed foods. So now we're going to attack the definition of it. These guys are prepared for this fight. There currently is no guaranteed agreed upon scientific. And by the way, part of that is because they pay scientists to muddy the waters on this. That's the industry itself pays scientists to what's really ultra processed here. Cheese puffs might grow eventually in the wild. That sort of thing. So they say there's no scientific definition of ultra-processed foods, and attempting to classify foods as unhealthy simply because they are processed or demonizing food by ignoring full nutritional content misleads consumers and exasperates health disparities. I can tell you this right now. If you have a bag of Cheetos and you have an apple, that the Cheetos are not as healthy as the apple. That's not, and I get it. Your industry will probably sit there and say, what really is better? The apple. The apple is better. The apple is better. Companies that adhere to the rigorous evidence-based standards, safety standards established by the Food and Drug Administration to deliver safe, affordable, and convenient products that consumers depend on every day. Yeah, a FDA that basically, puts its tails between the legs and basically does what the industry says. More than half of the American diet is made up of sugary, salt, and fatty ultra-processed foods, such as smoked meats, cookies, and chips. Eating these foods has recently been tied to premature death, heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Ultra-processed foods look like energy drinks and hot dogs are formerly whole foods containing one or more ingredients that would be found in a kitchen, including preservatives or sweeteners, and that undergo chemical alterations designed to appeal to consumers. Well, that sounds like a pretty easy to follow definition of what ultra processed foods are formerly whole foods containing one or more ingredients that wouldn't be found in a kitchen, including preservatives or sweeteners, and that undergo chemical alterations designed to appeal to consumers. They are also designed to cause people to overeat, according to Julia Wolfson, an associate professor at Johns Hopkins Bloomington School of Public Health. While soy milk, yogurts, oatmeal, and meat alternatives aren't as concerning for human health, many are junk foods loaded with hundreds more calories per gram than whole foods. These foods were first marketed to Americans in mass in the 1960s and 70s. My generation. Hostess Twinkies are delicious and nutritious. Yeah, that's what they would say. There was one woman. I remember the ad. It was like 74, 75, where the woman was, I'm looking for a wholesome, nutritious snack for my kids. And she's unwrapping Hostess Twinkies for the kids. Wholesome. Probably could still eat those from 1974. These foods were first marketed to Americans in mass in the 1960s and 70s, with production increasing dramatically between the 80s, 90s, according to Chew. First of all, I commend them. I think that we have to start talking about our diet, because there are problems stacked upon problems here. We do not pay people a fair livable wage. And so one of the things that has happened is the demand for cheap, ultra processed crap food has skyrocketed. And because it's what, when people say, well, they don't have a lot of money, well, they're fat. Well, that's because the people that don't have a lot of money, the only food they can get are these ultra processed things, which are horrifically bad for your health. And it is something that, that is, we need to pay more attention. I've talked about this multiple times. When my kids were born, my wife said, I want fruits and vegetables. And I looked at her and I said, that's going to be pricey. But we made that sacrifice and that choice, and our kids ate fruits and vegetables, a lot of them. And that was kind of a tent pole of their diet. There's another story I've talked about, and that was when my degree, and I'm about to scare everybody out there. My college degree is a bachelor's in business. I know. From William Penn. And when I took a business ethics course, there's a standard question that the professor asks. If you work for a food company and you discover an additive that you can add to your food product, which instantaneously makes it addictive and it's untraceable, would you do so? Knowing that your product is not a healthy product to eat. And the professor at the time said, yeah, back in the 70s, when you'd ask that question, they'd all say, oh, gosh, no. But starting in the 80s, thanks, Reagan, that started to change. And now the mentality is the corporate profits supersede anyone else's life or well-being. And most kids will respond, yeah, if it basically gets me a promotion, I could care less. I know enough not to eat it myself. I think we do need to have a larger discussion about ultra-processed foods, and we probably shouldn't let the industry dictate what that discussion is. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
This holiday season, something fabulous is marching your way. Join Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus at Orchestra Hall on December 6th for Jingle Bells and Jazz Noels, a dazzling night of holiday cheer and powerhouse vocals featuring Tony and Grammy winner Alex Newell. Bring your friends, chosen family, and your holiday spirit. Don't miss this once-a-year celebration of music, joy, and community. Get your tickets today at tcgmc.org.
Across this country, LGBTQ rights are under threat. This is a struggle that the LGBTQ community knows all too well. Since 1987, Outfront Minnesota has been fighting for LGBTQ rights and protections here at home, and this work is needed now more than ever. Hard-fought wins here in the state of Minnesota are at risk, from the ban on the harmful practice of conversion therapy that passed in 2023 to transgender protection secured in our State Human Rights Act in 1993, and even national recognition of our same-sex marriage protections that we secured in 2013 are at risk. Outfront Minnesota has helped Minnesota become a national leader in LGBTQ rights, and they will hold the line to make sure we don't lose what we've gained. But they need you. Now is the time to step up and support Outfront Minnesota and LGBTQ rights here in our state. Outfront Minnesota needs your financial support today to strengthen LGBTQ protections at home, at school, and at the state capitol. Learn more and make your gift at outfront.org/give. That's outfront.org/give.
Some versions of A Christmas Carol are hot toddies, sweet and cozy. Open Eye Theater's holiday tradition, Scrooge in Rouge, it's a Boilermaker, a raucous Victorian vaudeville-style musical that spikes your holiday with camp and chaos. Scrooge in Rouge is backed by audience demand for the third year in a row. Celebrate the holidays with Open Eye Theater, now through December 28th. Bring your friends, bring your festive spirit, and leave your figgy pudding at home. Christmas can be a drag in the best way. Tickets at openeyetheater.org.
Here's Aiden, Elizabeth, and Corey from Wellshire Memory Care with a holiday message.
This holiday season, the Wellshire family wants to take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey that we have shared with so many of you. To our current and past families who have entrusted us with the care of a loved one living with Alzheimer's or any other forms of dementia, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives. We know that this time of year can be bittersweet. It is a season filled with memories, love, and togetherness, but it can also remind us of the challenges that you have faced and the courage it takes to walk this path.
At the Wilshire, we are deeply honored to have been there to support you through those moments, to create a safe, compassionate space where your loved ones live with pride and dignity, and where your family could find comfort and hope. This holiday season, we're sending our warmest wishes to you and your families. May you find peace and cherished memories, joy in the present, and hope for the future.
From all of us at the Wellshire, happy holidays. You are forever a part of our family.
If your family member or loved one needs a memory care home, visit wellshiremn.com. That's wellshiremn.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's so many freaking news stories I could go with today. I'm talking about we're having the worst layoff year since the pandemic, and actually, I'm convinced we're actually undercounting it, considering that every day you can go up online. As a matter of fact, this Tyson, Nebraska plant shuts down. This is a Tyson's Nebraska plant. 3,200 jobs are lost. I guarantee you that is going to destroy some communities in Nebraska. Hurting small town families, shrinking local economies, less supply, beef prices rise nationally. Oh, don't worry. Donald Trump's buying that Argentinian beef because that psychopath is his buddy at the expense of the American farmer. Your farmer check is now going to Argentina. So, we could talk about the layoffs. I'm actually going to talk about something else here that, okay, we do have to realize that we are now, because we've concentrated wealth so much at the top, there is just a handful of people who truly are evil people that do not have our best interests in mind and will screw us over as people every single day, because once again, this is the age of greed. And that clown car of greedy jackasses is basically ruining us. And it's those usual suspects. I mean, these people are out there right now. I mean, we're not talking the vast majority of Americans. We're only talking about 0.0001% of the population. These top executives, these billionaires, millionaires who don't even look at us as human beings. And if you actually hear them talk, they don't think of us as human beings. They think of us as a box of paper clips that can be thrown away. And even some of them have suggested maybe we should have a mass die-off. Maybe that would make them a little more grateful. I mean, these people are freaking evil. And it might not be James Bond, I've got a volcano lair evil, one of those things. But what you've got is just an entire sector built on how do you screw over and take more of their money when they don't have a lot of money in the first place. School districts and local governments across the country appear to be overpaying for basic supplies because of Amazon contracts that bind them to dynamic pricing, or I'm going to just basically call it price gouging, according to a new report based on government data and public records analyzed by the nonprofit Institute for Local Self-Reliance. A school district in Denver, Colorado would have saved about $1 million in 2023 had it been able to negotiate for and lock in a lower price on the platform's continuously changing prices according to one estimate cited in the report. Denver Public Schools, which spent $5.7 million with Amazon that year, could have saved 17% had it consistently received Amazon's lowest prices, the report says. So it's not like they're saying we're going to demand Amazon negotiate lower prices. No, these are prices that are available, but apparently it sounds like Amazon's AI model, it's like, hey, it's the school district, jack up the prices. And since they're locked in on a contract, it's, yeah. On 15th of August, 2023, for example, Denver School District placed 2 separate orders for 2 bulk cases of dry erase markers. Researchers found the district paid $114.52 for one and $149.07 for another. Same product, basically $35 more expensive because of dynamic pricing. Under dynamic pricing, aka price gouging, companies like Amazon use algorithms to continuously readjust prices based on real-time data, meaning, hey, they're a school district. They got more cash. Charge more. Ching, 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 ching. Cash register sound. Supporters say that these tools help companies adjust to changes in supply and demand. Sure it does. But regulators have warned their potential to set high prices. Well, I think that's pretty clear at this point. Researchers were able to obtain detailed data on roughly 55,000 purchases of repeatedly offered Amazon items from 23 public entities, including Denver School District. The items included Elmer's glue, Amazon-based copy paper, Lysol cleaning wipes, and Crayola crayons. On average, the report found the localities could have saved 17% had they consistently received the lowest prices Amazon then changed for them. Amazon has persuaded cities and school districts to abandon competitive bidding and surrender to its dynamic algorithm-driven pricing. My guess is with promises, you're going to get the cheaper prices. My guess is these pleas for them to get on their algorithm-driven pricing are, it's going to be so dirt cheap for you, which is clearly a lie. This opaque system subjects buyers to erratic price swings and allows Amazon to covertly inflate prices and overcharge schools and cities. Amazon noted in an email that not all of its government customers have contracts with the company. Just the dupes. The nonprofit is calling on local and state governments to ban dynamic pricing in public procurement and to prioritize independent local businesses for supplies needs. In a statement, I'm going to presume from a luxury yacht. Oh, Amazon. From their owner's private rocket ship. Maybe they are a little closer to the volcano lair. An Amazon spokesperson said the flawed and misleading report misrepresented the facts and does not reflect the significant cost savings it gives to customers by offering everyday low prices, blah, 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 marketing. The spokesperson also said its platform makes it easy for customers, blah, 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 marketing. Well, if you're charging 17% more than the lowest cost available because it's not saving the money, you're costing taxpayer dollars. In 2023, school districts and local governments serving more than 50 million Americans spent $2.2 billion with Amazon. In one case in Iowa City, 2 school employees ordered identical cartons of Frito-Lay snacks on the same day in 2023. According to the report, one paid $26, the other $34. The district did not respond to requests for comment. Berkeley County Schools in West Virginia brought 3 identical play kitchen sets on another day that year. Researchers found it paid $89 for the first one, $107 for the other 2. In an email, spokesperson from the Berkeley County Schools said the district complies with the state purchasing rules. In a statement, Amazon questioned the study's validity. Okay, Amazon, they quite literally have the receipts, okay? Because they're public record. Enjoy your luxury yacht. Chicago, Seattle, I'll talk to you on Friday. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
Here at AM 950, we work hard every day to be Minnesota's progressive voice. We believe in giving a platform to all communities who need to be heard, especially underserved ones from the LGBTQ community to our Native American neighbors. This kind of programming covering local advocacy and the big issues that matter is a daily challenge to produce. We simply can't do it alone. Your support is what makes it possible for our station to stay on the airwaves day in and day out. Please go to am950radio.com and make a donation to help support this work. As our thank you, we'll send you our 6th annual AM 950 calendar. It features beautiful nature photos from our own Matt McNeil taken on his walks right here in Minnesota. We also pack it with key dates from Progressive and our AM 950 station history. It's perfect for your wall, makes a great holiday gift, and is a great way to stay inspired all year. That's am950radio.com. Thanks for listening and your support.
Come on, you know it's true. Work is almost bearable when the Stephanie Miller Show is on. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Navy Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley has told lawmakers there was no kill-them-all order from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth as Congress scrutinizes an attack that killed 2 survivors of an initial strike on an alleged drug boat near Venezuela. Ed Donahue has reaction.
Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton was asked if there was the kill order.
No, both. Admiral Bradley was very clear that he was given no such order, not to give no quarter or to kill them all. He was given an order that, of course, was written down in great detail, as our military always does.
Cotton defended the attack. Delaware Democrat Chris Coons says he came away with a different conclusion than Cotton.
In a second strike, they were killed, and in a third and fourth strike, the boat was sunk. But I'm not going to get into a lot more of the details around that because I don't think that's appropriate given this was in a classified setting.
There are mounting questions over whether the strike may have violated the law. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The FBI has made an arrest in the investigation of 2 pipe bombs placed outside the headquarters of the Republican and Democratic national parties in Washington. Eric Tucker reports the suspect's been identified as 30-year-old Brian J. Cole Jr. of Woodbridge, Virginia.
The pipe bombs were placed on the eve of the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. And since then, the investigation has really vexed law enforcement. It's spawned a multitude of conspiracy theories. And until now, it's failed to result in an arrest despite law enforcement pursuing many tips. But this really represents the first breakthrough in one of the FBI's most significant unsolved recent cases.
Jobless claims last week fell to the lowest level in more than 3 years. Mortgage rates still easing, the average 30-year dropping to 6.19%. And stocks held near record highs in quiet trading. The S&P inched up 0.1%. The Dow lost about 32 points. The Nasdaq added 0.2%. This is AP News.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to...
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been going to Shambot Family Dentistry for years.
They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shamblatt Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblattfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly sunny skies today with a high near 15. Tonight, cloudy with a temp rising to about 21. And Friday, partly cloudy with a high near 29. Mavericks Real Roast Beef in Roseville sets the standard for savory satisfaction. Experience the perfection of their Philly steak, turkey bacon, avocado, and more. Elevate your meal with freshly fried fries or onion rings. Visit mavericksbeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville. Mavericks Real Roast Beef. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Thursday. Nice to have you with us here, Matt and Patrick. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Patrick, the holiday season is here. Did you see on the Star Tribune they had their Christmas cookie contest?
I did not see that.
There's a humdinger there as a winner. I mean, I was looking at that as a kind of like a coffee-based, kind of a little chocolatey with caramel, with a caramel on it. It looks almost like a fried egg, but it looks delicious. That was their number 1 new Christmas cookie of the year.
Yeah, that sounds like my number 1 too.
Well, there are ones that are kind of traditional. Is there one off the top of your that you like, that any kind of the holiday cookie treat that you get every year?
I'm not super big into the holiday cookies, so not really.
We do have some neighbors that actually still make homemade stuff. The little peanut butter balls, you know what I'm talking about?
I love those.
Oh my God, are those good? They don't last. You bring that in. I mean, how can you do this to us? I like a good bark too. You know what I'm talking about? You know, you can get either peppermint bark or chocolate bark and stuff like that. Oh God, is that delicious? Man, it is, you know, we have made a lot of, and it's the homemade stuff. I was talking about pre-processed stuff. It's homemade. It's some loving elderly woman has made this for you. How can you say no to a dozen of them? Oh, they are fantastic. That one Christmas cookie, by the way, that's the article is up on the Star Trib. If you do look at it, I mean, it does look magnificent. I don't know if I'll make them, but I want to taste them. So I'm hoping somebody, I don't know if they're going to be like featured at a place or a restaurant, man, but I'd go for that in a heartbeat. Oh, it is the holiday season. It's cold out. I need extra energy. I do. I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed that going out, it's starting to get cold now. My fingers are thinning out. It kind of weathers you like a plank. If you ever look at, I always get impressed with the Scandinavians because they're very beautiful people, but when they age, they kind of age like a piece of wood that's been left out in the cold wind. You know, they get the wrinkles, and it still is a fairly attractive person, but it does that to you. Cold does that to you. Also, mountain lions. Mountain lions will do that to you. They'll age you pretty quick. Kitty. That was a kitty in Duluth. Mountain lion sighting at several schools to be placed under secure status on Wednesday because that's a meal to go for one of those suckers. The representative from Duluth Public Schools confirmed they received information from a neighbor near Ordine East Middle School. There was a cougar in the yard. Sorry. A mountain lion. A booma. Booma. About a half a mile from the school. From there, the district put out a school into secure status, which means no mountain lions. They brought everyone inside as a precaution due to the school's proximity to the district. They also put Congdon Park Elementary on secure status as well. The safety protocol was lifted Wednesday after about 40 minutes. The Duluth Police Department said it was aware of sightings of mountain lions and had been in communication with the Minnesota DNR. The picture they have has a collar on it. Apparently, that's not one of theirs. As with any wild animal, we want to remind the community that they should exercise caution in their presence and never approach them. Yeah, the big kitty, you want to avoid them. The DNR says the reported mountain lion was wearing a collar, but not one from their agency, so it cannot be traced, according to Northern News Now. Okay, so wait a second here. Then it's clearly one of two other ones. Well, I guess it could be three technically. It's either a cougar from Wisconsin. Hello there. Sorry. You can't. No, sorry. I'll just go with that. So it's either from Wisconsin, or it's from Ontario, or in a long shot, it could be from Manitoba. But it sounds like it had been seen coming down the North Shore over the last few weeks. So my guess is this is a Canadian mountain. It's a Canadian cougar. Hello there.
I can't remember where I saw this, but I thought I saw a quote that it came from the plains or something like that. That's where they thought it came from.
I think you're thinking about the pioneers. They rolled out the plains. I don't know. Okay, wait a second. Mountain lions, I thought, okay, so they're mountainous. They like the mountains, right? So would they cross Nebraska? Well, I don't want to go across Nebraska. I can't believe a mountain lion would want to go across Nebraska. I mean, that's a long haul for them. Maybe it was Manitoba then, because that's a lot of plains up there.
Yeah, that could be. I can't remember exactly. Oh, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. My fault.
That's okay. That's all right. Well, no, I saw there was there. My guess is Ontario. I did see one before. You know, I actually have seen a mountain lion in the wild very briefly. I was up, dropped in at Crane Lake. Okay. We take the Loon River up to Loon Lake, and because that's fantastic fishing. You've ever been up there? It's one of the border lakes. It's fantastic. I highly recommend you give it a shot sometime.
Oh, here's a headline from the Duluth News Tribune. It was believed to have come from Nebraska.
Really? No, I don't blame it. I mean, there are better opportunities, and the restaurants here are a lot better. And the kids are everywhere. I was up on the border, and if you've ever gone down the Loon River, it's kind of big steep rocks on both sides. And up on the Canadian side, I saw what at first I thought was a wolf, maybe, but then it moved. And you would not mistake a wolf for a mountain lion. Mountain lion, it moves in a very specific way, and jumped up, and it was huge, and it ran off into the woods once it saw us. But I've seen one. You don't see too many of those in the wild. Well, I guess you can go to Duluth. I checked the dumpsters in the area. It's some good eating over there. If you're at the Duluth Grill, you can get those biscuits and gravy with the chicken, man. I mean, I would be there too. I'll be sitting right there with a fork and a knife in the hand next to the mountain lion. Yeah, that's my dumpster. Back off there, kitty cat. No, I won't be doing that. 952-9. I'll just go inside and order some. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. There was also breaking news, and I wanted to make sure I bring this up because it wasn't something I knew that this was coming, but they hadn't released the information about it prior to me getting to the station. But now we know the details. Lutzen Resort owner Bryce Campbell has been charged with arson and insurance fraud in the blaze that destroyed the historic Treasure Lodge, once nestled along Lake Superior. Calling it a crime of selfishness, Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans said Thursday that Campbell put his interests above the livelihood of his employees, the safety of the people that were in the building at the time, and all of the Minnesotans that love Lutzen Lodge for generations across the state. According to a criminal complaint filed Wednesday, Campbell had been inside the lodge around the time the fire began, had often made jokes about burning it down. Wow, you're a genius, dude. Often joked about burning down the building that eventually burned down. Investigators found that Campbell had indeed searched online for ways to start fires. They found evidence of an accelerant that had been researched where the fire originated in the basement near the boilers. So the guy that said I should burn the place down and was foolish enough to actually look for ways to do it and found an accelerant that would do it, actually used the accelerant that they did in the internet search, and they found it. Okay. Campbell he also increased the insurance policy on the resort by $4.5 million since 2022. The complaint said, Patrick, you said this when we were in the news at the top of the hour. He said, you don't try to commit insurance fraud. They will catch you.
They will.
Absolutely. That, trust me, the insurance companies are looking for a reason. You know, they're if it's going to be a big payout, trust me, they have the time to find the people that will investigate it. And hey, if it's truly an accident, you know, they'll pay it out. But if you've committed a crime here, they're going to find you out. State Fire Marshal Bureau of Criminal Apprehension announced charges nearly 2 years after their investigation. Campbell, a Canadian citizen who was arrested without incident in Michigan. Lutsen Resort billed itself as the state's oldest in operation for nearly 140 years. The lodge that burned was built in 1952. The fire destroyed the two previous two previous iterations. The 2024 fire destroyed the wood structure early on February 6th, leaving only 2 chimneys standing. It was originally owned by by Campbell, 41, who bought the lodge in 2018 for $3.35 million, according to county records. Defending himself against online accusations of starting the fire, he told the Minnesota Star Tribune last year that he had nothing to do with it. Okay. My heart is broken. I feel like I'm grieving a person, Campbell wrote to the Star Tribune then. You have no idea what it's like to lose such a big piece of your life that my mom and I were rebuilding together. It makes my heart broken, even much more to focus on such absurd accusations. Yes, absurd. Campbell wrote that he recently invested millions of dollars on improvements to the 3-story lodge, so you don't blanking torch a place and burn up $5 million of your own money. Let's use some common sense here, people. You know, yeah. Campbell said he had plans to rebuild. The state fire marshal said previously that the lodge, which had been working sprinkler system, had 7 violations when last inspected. 4 had been repaired. 2 of the outstanding violations, including the sprinkler system, the fire alarm systems, and the need to provide recent inspection reports. Dick Nelson, great-grandfathers, built the original resort in the mid-1880s. Descendants of the Nelson family ran it until 1988, when it was sold to Bill Burns, Nancy Burns, and Scott Harrison. Driving by the roped-off entryway to where the lodge once stood feels sad. It always will, said Nelson, a Lutsen resident. All the history of the walls there, you can't recreate that, but justice has been served, and that part is wonderful. It's the allegations. He'll have his day in court on this one, but it sounds like they've got quite a bit of evidence against him. His daughter and scores of others were married at the resort and celebrated, not the guy that did this, but Nelson. His daughter and scores of others were married at the resort and celebrated anniversaries and family vacations there. A lot of people I know went to Lutsen. I know a lot of people that went up there. I knew musicians that went up there and performed. I knew a lot of people that went to Lutsen. I'd been inside of it once. I didn't stay there. I was in it once. God, what was that for? It wasn't a wedding. It was some sort of event. I went up there. Lovely place. I never stayed there, but lovely place. I was in it once. St. Paul architect Edwin Lundy designed the Masaba red U-shaped lodge with its prominent brick chimney, massive hand-hewn posts and beams carved from century-old white pine, and a huge fireplace made from local stone. The original lodge was destroyed by fire in 1948, rebuilt, destroyed by fire in 1951. Oops. A 2024 resort fire was the second major fire in the Lutsen area less that year, with Papa Charlie's destroyed by fire in 2023. Lutsen's resort historic covered building lodges were also destroyed during a storm in 2022. Campbell ran afoul of the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources after repairing one bridge without a permit. In 2024, he also lost operation of another of his properties, Superior Shores Resort north of Duluth, to a caretaker after he missed payments on the $15 million property. So there you go. First of all, Patrick's exactly right. I mean, if you are an owner of a business and you think to yourself, you're going to be able to pull something like this off, you're not. You're just not. I get it. Sometimes there's movies out there that show some sort of high-tech arson team or crime team or something like this. No. That's not, no. I think it's one of those things where, because it's such an iconic location within the state, if these allegations end up being true, it's just such a small, petty thing to do. And if the allegations are true, the fact that the guy was already out, you people out there accusing me of something, if you are found guilty of this, sir, then no one is on your side. Sounds like there were multiple things that had not gone right for the guy, at least by the allegations from the story. And sometimes you get desperate and you start thinking about options. I don't know what this guy's motivation was. I don't know. It's alleged. He'll have his day in court. But the fact that you kept telling people that you wanted to burn the place down, and apparently you're, at least from the evidence they had that they have been presented, that you were researching burning the place down, and the accelerant that you researched to burn the place down was found at the site where the fire started. I'll just let it go. I'll just let it go. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break, come on back, change up subject. When we do return, it is the Matt McNeil Show.
This holiday season, bring true purpose back to gift giving with CauseCart. When shopping with CauseCart, you aren't just buying a gift. You're supporting artists, nonprofits, and socially conscious businesses. CauseCart is the trusted marketplace connecting shoppers who care with purpose-driven brands that do good for people and the planet. They're committed to positive change, using biodegradable packaging and investing in carbon credits. Now, CauseCart is extending that conscious approach right to your doorstep with a special offer. They're offering free local delivery in Hennepin, Ramsey, and Washington counties until December 19th. It's the perfect way to shop sustainably without leaving home. Taking advantage of the free delivery is easy. Just go to cause-cart.com and choose the pickup option at checkout. So make your holiday giving meaningful with CauseCart, one conscious choice at a time. That's cause-cart.com.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T., we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit MaryTinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Ready or not, the holidays are here. And if you're still falling on the not side, there's still time to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come over and help get things in order. Any surface in your home can be Zero Resified. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and more. So you don't have to worry about your friends and family sitting down on a nasty couch. And right now, you can get Zero Res's Cyber Monday sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $119. Plus take $75 off an air duct cleaning. You don't even have to wait for a countdown clock to expire on a big box website to get your Cyber Monday deal from Zero Res, but this deal won't last forever. So make sure to head on over to ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZERO-RES right now and ask for the AM 950 special and get your Cyber Monday deal of 3 rooms of carpet starting at $119 plus $75 off an air duct cleaning. Zero Res.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Okay, so yeah, this next story is just going to be rich for you. I mean, this is just rich from our buddy, Minnesota 8 Representative Stubby himself, Pete Stubba. The U.S. House Natural Resources Committee sent a broad request for information to 3 environmental groups this week, looking for evidence that colluded with the Biden administration officials to stop mining in Superior National Forest. The request signed by Representative Pete Stauber, Bruce Westerman of Arkansas, and Paul Gozar of Arizona were sent on Monday. The news release from the committee said it was keen to discover the details of environmental groups' backroom roles in the cancellation of leases with the Twin Metals copper mining nickel mine and the withdrawal of the national forest land from mining. Now, what is absolutely freaking rich about this is that clearly Pete Stauber has been meeting with the industry giants, international mining conglomerates that want to rip apart northern Minnesota and leave a gashing, toxic hole in its place. That Pete Stauber, he cares so little about this state that he wants to hand it over to Chilean and Canadian and Swiss and Chinese mining interests to say, rip it apart and leave nothing standing. Because he'll just leave the state and he'll get a nice big townhouse in some other place and be a lobbying professional for them. And his kids will get executive jobs and his wife will be on the board of some of these companies and he'll make a mint. And all he has to do is basically F us all over, and he is willing to do it. And I want to remind you, the type of mining that Pete Stauber wants to forsake this state for has never, ever in the history of mining been done environmentally safe. Not once, not a single time. But he wants you to ignore his colluding and working with the international mining giants while he basically starts wagging his stern finger at environmental groups because of collusion. Oh, how dare you! The keen to discover the details of environmental groups' backroom roles in the cancellation of the leases. The offices of the congressman did not respond to message seeking commitment. My guess is they were busy, servicing the international mining conglomerate executives. This is rich. The three groups have been targeted, have all been national profile: Earth Justice, an environmental law firm; the Center for Biological Diversity, a frequent plaintiff in lawsuits against the federal government; and the Wilderness Society, which advocates to protect public lands. Stauber, Gozer, and Westerman, the worst folk band from the 70s ever, are alleged that the three environmental groups improperly met with Biden officials in the Department of Interior in 2021. At the same time, they were suing the administration over Twin Metals, then active mineral leases. At the very least, these meetings created serious appearance of impropriety, more like, dude, you basically give lap dances to the international mining companies. Yeah. They met with somebody and there's an appearance of impropriety. Now, pardon me, I got my G-string on. I'm going to have to go dance for the mining groups. Yikes. God, that is not an image I want in my head anymore. Ow, 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 ow. No, 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 no. Puppy dogs, puppy dogs, puppy. Okay, thank you. So once again, Mr. I'll do whatever the international mining groups I meet with on my own time want. The appearance of impropriety. These meetings violated ethical standards and evidence potentially improper relationships between them and similar radical groups and the Biden administration. It's Kira. Was it the Kira? Was her name Suckling? Okay. Kieran Suckling, an executive director for the Center for Biological Diversity, on Wednesday said Stauber and Gozer are mimicking Trump and using governmental power to persecute their opponents. That is all this is. He said the groups had done nothing unusual or illegal, and the discussions with the Biden administration are a normal part of the advocacy. I would say this. I would look at both of these guys and I'd say, you release every detail, phone call, meeting minute, text message that Pete Stauber has had with any executive or pro-mining group, and we'll release what happened with that meeting. Because I can guarantee you, Pete Stauber has far more appearance of impropriety with the mining groups than any of these groups do. Like I said, Pete Stauber would poison every corner of Minnesota as long as he'll get a nice house someplace else and a great gig with the mining companies. That is who he is. He will sell us out any second. Jesus. And by the way, he voted to keep to help protect Trump with the Epstein files. I mean, eventually he voted against it. I voted against it eventually, but he was keen on making sure no one saw what was in those Epstein files for a long time. Weren't you there? And he voted to kill all the healthcare in rural Minnesota, kill all the schools up there, raise your healthcare prices, the cost of all your stuff up there. I mean, he's done a lot of bad things, but he has worked very hard to basically screw over Minnesota with mining. The two other groups, by the way, did not respond to comment. The congressional request does not carry any legal power of subpoena. It was launched amid a flurry of federal actions targeting Minnesota this week. So this is basically just part of the same thing. Racism packaged in a different form. Trump has pledged on immigration enforcement crackdown on the state's Somali community. I'll get to that here in a second. The direct probe of the environmental groups is an escalation of the long-running fight over Twin Metals, the most controversial mine proposed in Minnesota. The underground mine would be the watershed of the Boundary Water Canoe area. Environmental advocates argue that toxic runoff from the mine could damage it. The argument persuaded the Biden administration to bar any mining across 225,000 acres of the Boundary Waters watershed. Biden had already canceled the mineral leases for Twin Metals mine the year before. Yeah, because it's not safe. And I want to remind you, and I want to give, once again, when Dayton was governor, I got to give him a lot of credit. He didn't really know that much about the issue, which is fine. I don't expect my governor to know everything about everything. So he educated himself, and he went out to that Michigan site, and I think he went out to that Montana site, and he came back and it's like, this has never been done safe. Are you crazy? We can't do this. And it was from that point forward that I adopted the whole thing. If you want these mining leases to go away, state of Minnesota, listen to me. Get over there, and this is going to be DFL because the Republicans would never do this. But you just pass a law that says any mining company and their parent company, at the time the mine starts, are legally required, and that is not something they can pass away to somebody else. Whoever is involved with the mine at the time the mine starts digging, or any time within the next 5 years of that mine in operation, makes the commitment to clean up every pebble, drop, and vapor of toxic pollution to come from that mine, and they will be responsible for that for the entirety of existence. Anything from that mine gets cleaned up by the Chilean, Canadian, Chinese, or Swiss mining giants. That is no way they can offset that. There is no way they can move that off to anyone else. If you pass that law, you guess what would happen? Guess what would happen? None of those companies would ever want to mine in Minnesota, because the entire goal is to destroy the northern Minnesota and then run out of here and have Pete Stauber going, gee willikers, they double-crossed me. Now, pardon me while I take this really big job over there at this mining lobbying company. I don't know if he'd cackle like that, but Stauber's a jackass. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll get back. Let's talk about what's going on with the racism. That racist, kind of racist. That's the Trump administration. We'll talk about that in a second. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. It's been great working with so many of the passionate AM 950 listeners over the years. We have realized how important AM 950 is to the community. I want to see AM 950 continue to grow and continue to thrive into the future. To help continue to grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to do your part by liking and sharing the content on AM 950 social media platforms.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Ryan has always told me the best time to get work done is during the cold colder months of the year because demand is much lower. He is backing that up again by offering 30% off labor on windows and siding from now until the end of December. Call Snap Construction now to get 30% off labor on windows and siding. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Trust the company AM950 trusts Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, and window contractor in the metro area. Get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
This holiday season, something fabulous is marching your way. Join Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus at Orchestra Hall on December 6th for Jingle Bells and Jazz Noels, a dazzling night of holiday cheer and powerhouse vocals featuring Tony and Grammy winner Alex Newell. Bring your friends, chosen family, and your holiday spirit. Don't miss this once-a-year celebration of music, joy, and community. Get your tickets today at tcgmc.org.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Now on view at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Step into the splendor of Cambodia's Khmer Empire with Royal Bronzes, Cambodian Art of the Divine. This groundbreaking exhibition showcases the empire's exquisite bronze artistry with statues, ritual objects, and artifacts that reveal a fascinating blend of mystery, devotion, and royal power. See the enduring legacy of Cambodia's sacred metallurgical traditions as you witness over 200 objects, including a colossal sculpture of the Hindu god Vishnu. Tickets and information at artsmia.org.
Hey there, I'm Beth from Big Hill Books in the charming Bryn Mawr neighborhood at 405 Penn Avenue South in Minneapolis. All December, we're observing Jólabókaflóð, Iceland's tradition of gifting new books on Christmas Eve. To celebrate, all children's books are 25% off the entire month of December. Gigi, our gentle shop dog, and our 2 shop cats promise to get you in the holiday spirit. Learn more at bighillbooks.com/events.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with temperatures rising to 21, then Friday, snow with a high of 30. Maverick's Real Roast Beef is an East Metro treasure with the best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities, but don't miss out on the chicken, Philly steak, brisket, fish, and more. Maverick's is in Roseville on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Check them out at mavericksbeef.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
It is the Matt McNeil Show, 952-946-6205. So let's get into this because there is something. Trump's ugliness is leading to something else, which is just relatively unacceptable and just horrible that is going on right now. And we it's something we're going to have a discussion about because once again, this is who these people are. This is who these people are. And well, I'll tell you what, I'll save that and I'll get to that here in just a little bit. Minneapolis resident Naili Abduli was driving across town when she heard over the phone that her brother had been arrested outside of the family's home on Tuesday morning. Her brother, Omar Abduli, had just left a snow-covered walk to his car when authorities rushed in and apprehended him. Omar, the father of 2 young children, is one of several Minnesotans detained by ICE this week at the ICE Gestapo as part of the immigration crackdown following a series of social media posts and public statements by Trump attacking the state's Somali community. Family members and immigrant advocates reporting a series of actions across the Twin Cities with federal agents appearing outside of homes, showing up in cars with Uber stickers, knocking on doors in the immigration dense Cedar Riverside towers in Minneapolis and targeting local Somali malls and a Latino Day laborer spot. On Wednesday, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey signaled an order prohibiting federal and local agencies from staging civil immigration operations from city-owned lots, ramps, or garages. City parking lots need to be used for city purposes, which do not include civil immigration enforcement. Fry said in a news release, "There's no place in our in our Minneapolis for fear-based tactics or operations that undermine community trust." By the way, I'm going to come back to that lie in just a second. About a dozen elected officials gathered on the Brian Cole Center in Cedar Riverside, a community center in the hub of East African communities, to mobilize efforts in responding to ICE arrests and show support for the Somali community. Trump can start with us, but he will not end with us, said State Senator Zanab Mohammed. She said, "We are the nation of immigrants and our rights, but only if we are brave enough to defend it." She also said that ICE is not notifying elected officials of arrests ahead of time. An ICE spokesperson said Wednesday the agency had no further comment. I imagine with a involved in there. Several speakers, including State Representative Aisha Gomez, Representative Mohammed Noor, Senator Omar Fateh, and Minneapolis Council member Jamal Osman, highlighted the chaos of the past few days as multiple calls and social media posts report ICE officers in vehicles making seemingly random arrests, including stopping 2 Somali U.S. citizens on Tuesday. A total number of arrests over the past few days is unclear, said Hussein, executive director of the Minnesota chapter of Council of American Islamic Relations. Gialani Hussein, Minnesota Immigrants Rights Action Committee member Erica Zwazarski told Sahan Journal that their organization has heard of at least 5 individuals arrested Monday and Tuesday. This is horrible. This is horrible. The Trump administration was always they will always go racist. They will. I mean, this is racism for racism's sake. And this is like the ultimate setup for these racists and these bigots. A ethnic community that is not white, that is basically confined to an inner metro area for the most part. I mean, obviously, there's quite a few people that are in St. Cloud as well and other across the metro, but it's an area where Republicans can go as racist as they want to go and feel like they are in a safe spot. And if you want proof of that, let me introduce you to the large tub of Elmer's glue that is our racist du jour, Tom Emmer, because he said something today which is so freaking inexcusable and such a racist dog whistle. It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. He cited false statistics about the percentage of crimes committed by Somali Americans on Fox Business Wednesday, joining a wave of Republicans engaging in anti-Somalic rhetoric lately. It's not that all Somalis are committing crimes, but, okay, this is the Emmer line. This is crazy that he's trying to push this. It's not that all Somalis are committing crimes, but 80% of the crimes being committed in the Twin Cities, Minnesota, are being committed by Somalis, Emmer said. 80% of all the crimes committed in Minneapolis, St. Paul, he says, are committed by Somalis. Racist. That is false. That is absolutely false. And it once again, it's just deeply insulting that he would even try to say something so blatantly racist. Minnesota Reformer comes on in. Crime statistics are complicated, but they are often based on crimes that are reported. And in the case of statistics of the race of the offender, those are solved or result in arrest. Law enforcement discrimination can also skew the data. A 2023 federal report following the investigation of the Minneapolis Police Department found that the agency discriminated against Black and Native American people. Law enforcement agencies do not release data on nationality of perpetrators, only in race and ethnicity when available. And that means Somali Americans are grouped in with other Black and African American peoples in crime statistics. All those caveats considered, a state crime dashboard filtered for crimes in the 7-county metro area, for the entire 7-county metro area, shows that 37% of the people arrested since 2021 were Black. Somali Americans comprise just a portion of the total Black population, which means Emmer's claim is significantly off. A Hennepin County City Attorney's dashboard shows that since 2018, 57% of Hennepin County cases involved a perpetrator who is Black or African American. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office declined to press charges in around a quarter of the cases received from the office. Emmer made a similar comments on Fox over the summer. Wednesday's remark come after a couple of anti-Somali tirades by Trump, who in the cabinet meeting Tuesday said Somali people are garbage. Now, I want to make sure we understand. He represents St. Cloud, which means he has people in his own district, which he is openly lying about because his constituents do not matter to him, only appeasing Trump. Trump's public comments on the Minnesota Somali community, the largest in the nation, have shifted drastically since he defended Somali immigrants in St. Cloud a decade ago. He said 80% of all the crime in Minneapolis, in the Twin Cities, 80% of all the crime is being committed by Somalis. How do you get so racist? And this is the racism this is what we're going to get for the next year. Racism upon racism upon racism. I do want to take a quick little moment, if I may, to talk to the people who did steal the money from these social safety net programs. Now, all of you, regardless of what your race, nationality, sex, gender, any of that, any of you that did that, you're horrible, horrible human beings. You took money designated for hungry people, for health care for the sick, for shelter for the homeless, for even education opportunities, and you jammed it in your pocket and did not deliver any of the services. And we actually had a story, 2 weeks ago, where there was a question on whether or not your stealing of this money actually has led to people dying because you never delivered the services that you were being paid to deliver. You just stealing the money makes you horrible, horrible people. Now, to you specifically, that did steal the money that were part of the Somali community, which is part of that theft. And that is something that we have to discuss, is that there were indeed a lot of people from the Somali community that were engaged in these crimes to steal this money. You're not responsible for Trump's racism. Trump's racism and the Republican Party's racism is that. But you gave him this racist toehold to basically run with. And so not only are you not only are you horrible people because you stole money from people that needed these services, but you, because you're dealing with racists, your actions have caused your entire community to now suffer for your greedy ass actions. Yep. Now, once again, you're not sending in the ICE guys, but your actions, your theft, which is an undeniable crime, have led to the persecution of your entire community by racists and bigots, who the vast majority of which had nothing to do with your crimes. Hope you're proud of yourselves. Hope you're proud of yourselves. Horrible people. Horrible people. The racism is from Trump and Emmer and the Republicans. That's the racism. But you once again, you are dealing with people who are looking for reasons to say they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. They want to believe the worst of it all. They want to believe and paint minority communities as the villains du jour, much like evil regimes across history. And you guys open the door for this with these crimes. And once again, no, I know you didn't ask for this. I know that you didn't want your entire community persecuted, but you're dealing with crazed racists Of course they were going to use your crimes to justify their intolerable actions. Let that one rest on your conscience. Horrible people. Ugh. And it doesn't end, because then there's just this little gem. This little gem just popped up in my timeline. Governor Walz said Thursday that people are driving by his house, rolling down the windows and yelling the R-word slur for developmentally disabled people, mimicking Trump after he used the derogatory term to attack him. The Democratic governor said he has concerns after Trump started an attack on a Truth Social post and continued his attack from this week. This creates danger, I tell you what. I'm worried. I know what these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. Trump added, reminding about the fact that you got people that are out there, and of course the history of violence in this state. When a reporter asked Trump if he regretted calling Walz a slur, the president doubled down and continued to attack the Somalis and use the R word. But apparently they are. So now we're going to play a game of gotcha. So if people are actually doing this, folks, we all have these cameras. Now, I have mentioned that when it comes to the ICE Gestapo, if you see the ICE Gestapo in action, pull out that camera and start taking video, because it might be the only video that exists of somebody getting abducted by the jackbooted thugs, okay? And trust me when I say that there are going to be family members and loved ones who are going to wonder, where did my family member go? They just went down to the store, and now they've been gone for 4 hours. You may end up having the only video footage that shows that they were abducted. So I've talked about this. We all have a First Amendment weapon in our hands with these cell phones. Make sure you use them. But since we're going to play this game, and since Republicans want to go drive by Governor Walz's mansion and say the R word, we need to start posting some people out there. And if you start seeing people rolling down the window and yelling that, get them. Hey, freedom of speech is alive and well, but freedom from consequences, that's not something that the First Amendment protects. And so, yeah, I would love to know exactly who is doing this. So I'll play a game of get me the video. If you see somebody doing that, using a derogatory term for disabled Americans at the home of a governor with a son with a with a developmental disability, you get a video of that person. Let's find out who they are. Yay! Accountability can be a bitch. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. One final story when I do return. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
If you're in need of food resources, Hennepin County is here to help. Food shelves near you are ready with fresh, nutritious food. SNAP remains open. You can continue applying for benefits. If you are expecting or have children ages 0 to 5, WIC can provide even more support. Get connected to free or low-cost food resources near you at hennepin.us/food-help. Again, that address is hennepin.us/food-help.
Get the perfect holiday gift. Chanhassen Dinner Theater's gift cards never expire and can be used for any show. White Christmas, the concert series, Stevie Ray's Comedy Cabaret, or coming soon, the high-rolling musical spectacular Guys and Dolls. Visit chanhassendt.com.
AM 950 faces urgent threats from an administration wanting to silence independent progressive voices. Keep Minnesota's only independent progressive station on the air by shopping with our advertisers. Your support is vital during these times. View the full directory of businesses to support at am950radio.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our local small businesses. Do you want more leads, more store traffic, more customers? Thousands of local businesses, just like yours, count on Minuteman Uptown to drive sales. We make your business stand out and show out. We print everything from signage, promotions, and direct marketing. We connect you to the community. Choose Minuteman Uptown because we share your values and we are a proud union shop. Contact us today at mpuptown.com.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Hey, this is John Parker at Rainbow Road in Minneapolis. The holidays are coming up, and you can buy a limited selection of official Tom of Finland swimwear, tanks, and underwear for that special someone or for yourself. But don't wait on this. When they're gone, they're gone. And while you're there, update your gym look from a wide selection of tanks, t-shirts, and shorts. Rainbow Road is open 7 days a week on Grand Street by Loring Park and all the time at rainbowrd.com. Remember to get it at the road.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure I could get Tizzy Ent to promote that video if we got a video of something like that. I'm pretty sure some other people, Schechter, would probably help us out with that. We had video of someone rolling down the window and screaming the R word. Oh, I think that we could make that person somewhat popular. I think we could. I would love to try to help on that. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I never get tired of these people who basically they get recorded doing stuff like this, and they're like, "That's not really me." Bah! Come on, that's exactly who you are. It's now all of a sudden you realize there's consequences for your actions. That all of a sudden is like, I better delete all my social media pages. Oh God. Final thing today. The budget numbers were out, and well, it is interesting. One of the things I've always been kind of interested about with the Minnesota state budget is that we always have we tend to have these things where there's a big deficit coming, but then all of a sudden we end up having surpluses. Minnesota budget analysis projects the state will have a surplus of nearly $2.5 billion in the current budget, but face a deficit just under $3 billion in the next, citing slow economic growth and increased spending by Minnesota management and budget released with its economic forecast on Thursday, mainly because Trump is cutting all these programs and the state has to pick up the cost for it. But I know where we got $2.5 billion that can offset that problem, so there we go. This is a significant shift compared to a more bleak outlook in the report the state's financial position early this year. The forecast this spring predicted a $6 billion deficit. So it's gotten a lot better. But the budget lawmakers passed this summer didn't go as far as they hoped in righting the ship. They need to try to reduce the deficit to roughly $1.1 billion. Later in the summer, Congress passed President Trump's big, beautiful bill, further affecting the budget outlook for every state in the union. Federal funds make up about a third of the state budget, and they took all that money. See, what Republicans did is they took all that money and they gave it to some billionaires and millionaires. I know you'd say to yourself, wait a second, Matt, billionaires and millionaires, don't they have a ton of money? I know they do. But you see, this is the entire Republican policy at this point. Take everything from the middle class and the lower class, and really even most of the upper class, and take that money and give you nothing in return, and take that money and give it to their true gods, who are the millionaires and billionaires, who already have a ton of money. And then they get a lobbying gig or an executive position with the company. We all get screwed, and that's Republican policy. Hey, that's not an opinion. Take a look at what they've done the last 45 years. That's it right there. And if they have to be a little racist to get it done, they'll do it in a heartbeat, because they know people will forget their own problems as long as they feel as they can be racist. See Tom Emmer. So, like I said, I mean, if you got a potentially $3 billion deficit, well, take that $2.5 million surplus, set it aside. You got that covered. the thing which is funny is Republicans are like, that's not good enough, even though we were doom and glooming it, and it's a lot better now. That's not good enough. We need to give all the money to the millionaires and billionaires, because that's what they want to do. And I want to make sure we all understand. If Republicans get their way, they will take every dollar we have, and give it to millionaires and billionaires as they lay us off. And basically, we get nothing. And that's so, no. So far, the Democrats, like I said, we keep having this happen where it looks like it's going to be bad and it gets a lot better. I like budget surpluses. Thanks, Democrats. You're doing great. Well, not great, but still, put that money aside for next year, all right? Native Roots Radio is up next. We're back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.
Here at AM 950.